Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Butcher's Circus, and today we are going to be playing a team that was suggested to me. So, we have here a team that is no novelty to me. I have played this many times before, and it's always something very fun to do. So, you bring yourself a Highwayman, and you get a man-at-arms and a doggy, and you give yourself a Plague Doctor as well. And most of you probably know where this is going already, right? The Highwayman is gonna get buffed up tremendously between being gutted, being buffed up with the commands, and being buffed up with the emboldening vapors. That is the idea behind this team. And with the Vendetta as well, he's gonna absolutely wreck our opponent here, which is called Eugenius. So I've never played against this opponent before. They have quite an interesting team, having both a doggy, an occultist, and a plague doctor in it. You usually have only one of those because they're quite squishy characters, but that is actually very good for us because our Grape Shot Blast is gonna absolutely shred through it. Now, even though the Grape Shot Blast does do a lot of damage and a lot of stress, its biggest problem is that to make it as strong as possible, your team doesn't really do too much. The Plague Doctor is here to drop emboldening vapors twice and probably die. The Man-at-Arms is just a support character. The Doggy is also a support character in this team, so they're all essentially support characters apart from the Highwayman. So you are kind of screwed if there's something like Puncture, if he gets marked immediately and there's marks, and a Sniper Shot to just one-shot him, so this team is definitely not foolproof, but once it does work, oh boy, it feels great. So we've already dropped one Emboldening Vapors on this Highwayman. We have, I don't believe, any command buffs so far, but I wasn't going for the maximum possible Grape Shot damage. I was just going for, after a few matches of attempting to make this team actually work well, I was just going for a Highwayman that would do a lot of damage consistently and give us something that would give us the best win chance possible, because if you spend 4 turns spamming command buffs, you're probably not going to have a fun time. You're probably going to need to spend some of those turns either using Bolster against stress teams, dropping a Bell or 2 against Arbalists, and also having to use your guard if one of your characters gets focused down a little bit too early, right? So the Plague Doctor is going to go abusive here, which is quite bad for us, but honestly it doesn't really matter. Even though I have to click her now and she drops the Death Door, who really cares? I just drop my Emboldening Vapors again and then we're perfectly fine here. The Highwayman is worth essentially 2.5 characters right now, so we are still up half a character compared to my opponent. So we are essentially down the Plague Doctor already, and in terms of damage output we've done, it has basically just been a Vendetta, which really isn't very much. But now we're gonna see the Grape Shot Blast, and there you go, that is exactly what happens if you let this Highwayman just get beefed up. And that is with one command buff, by the way. That was just one command buff, 21 damage on the 2 frontline characters, and a very big roll on the Occultist, and they're already feeling it. Another Grape Shot Blast like that, and they're all gonna be at Death's Door. It's amazing how much damage this thing can freaking do. It feels so good when it actually works. Now we're gonna drop a Houndsari. As we all know, command buffs equals crits. It's usually 2 command buffs, but you can do it just 1. So yeah, look at those numbers right there. Just so many freaking buffs that you can get on this, and it just feels amazing to play, honestly. So our opponent here is actually using the Fool's Idol, or the Bleeding Skull, as the base game likes to call it, so that Highwayman, or I mean the Houndmaster, is gonna get healed up for sure, but he's gonna be closer to death, because he does have minus death blow resistance, so a trinket I definitely don't like, but a trinket we're playing against today. I will say that the Genius' team is definitely on the interesting side of things, a very aggressive team, but it is lacking somewhat on the defense. It could not be lacking. You could have Content of Absolution on the Flash, you could have Dodge on that Houndmaster, you could have a relatively tanky Occultist using, for example, Monkey's Paw, and even the Bleeding Skull if you really want to use it, like with Stitch and Embrace and the heal or something. And what you could also have is the Plague Doctor with the heal, and if she does get pulled, you can just stealth her or something of the likes. So yeah, our Plague Doctor is gonna get taken out here. We're gonna go for another Grape Shot Blast. We get another crit, which is just lovely. I will tell you, if you try doing this on your own, sometimes you get crits and it feels very satisfying, and sometimes you don't. And it's very annoying when you don't, because when you use Vendetta and when you have both those trinkets and when you have the command buffs, The Grape Shot Blast minus 5% crit mod, which is what it is, feels like a minus 15, honestly, because I've spent like 3 turns going for Grape Shot Blasts, hitting every single one of them, and not getting a single crit, even though I have like 30% crit chance on every single one of those. So, what are the chances of that happening? Honestly, not too crazy. That's just how RNG works, I suppose. So we're gonna drop a Houndsari here, and you can see the start of round 2, all those characters were in perfect shape. By the end of round 3, they are all feeling the pain to some excruciating degrees right now, and our Grape Shot Blast is gonna be spammed even more. So this is quite good. Also, I should mention that someone suggested I should play this. I didn't actually have the idea to play this. They said it was a team that they were playing. I can't remember who it was exactly, but it was on the comments yesterday, and it was a very good suggestion because I want to finish the year off with a very cool team, a team that I do like to play. Having that Highwayman just get those amazing crits, it just feels satisfying. And honestly, if you want that maximum satisfaction to finish your 2022 off, I will post a video in the description, which is Highwayman.exe. It's a video I made a year ago, so it was in December 2021, and honestly, to this day, I still watch it every now and then. And even though it was made with a very lackluster equipment, when your shepherd doggy wasn't really a master at editing, not that I am now, but I use like this stupid phone app to just meld the videos together and then just put a song on top. I'm not sure if the song is actually still there. Oh, I really hope it is. I remember I had some copyright issues with that, but yeah, you should definitely watch it if you haven't yet. So here the Flagellant says, clear this mind, clear this mind, clear this mind, and as we all know, that is the self-hit act out, and he is just gone. That does give my opponent a heal to all the other characters though, so it's not too bad. Honestly, looking at this team again, one thing you should do is bring the Disorienting Blast on your Plague Doctor, because it feels so annoying when you're having to drop Grape Shot Blasts into corpses, and I feel like I've been doing that quite a bit. I played like 6 matches with this team, and that happened more than once, so it was quite annoying. So my opponent surrenders here after that, and let's go on for the second and the final match. So we are playing against Video Nasty now, and they have a Mark team. A bit of a weird Mark team, I will say, but actually kind of well built to deal with what we have here. So the Abomination is going to be able to push our characters around, which we definitely hate. The Bounty Hunter is going to be able to disrupt our characters. The Musketeer is going to be able to get one-shots. And the Highwayman is going to counter our Grape Shot Blast by hitting into also the Riposte. So right off the get-go, it doesn't really look like a good team to play against. So here I go second, so it's not too good, but for some bizarre reason, Video Nasty here actually drops the Vendetta onto my Highwayman rather than onto my doggy. I guess they weren't expecting the immediate guard and just wanted to go Mark on the Highwayman and take him out that way, which is why I went for the guard. If I let the mark be applied before I go for the guard, then they can bypass the guard with the sniper shot on that musketeer, or the aimed shot actually, my bad. So here I am gonna drop a Bella with the Man-at-Arms. I want to reduce my opponent's damage slightly, and at this point I was considering going Battlefield Medicine with my Plague Doctor, just to clear 2 of those caltrip bleeds immediately. I do feel like it's a weird play to go for immediate caltrips against this, but it's honestly not the weirdest play, because if you go against a doggy with this amount of dodge, just having that bleed taking away at him can feel really good. But here I am probably gonna go for the heal, and yes, I do. That is gonna clear 2 of the caltrip bleeds at once, which is really great, and it is also gonna bring my Highwayman back up to full HP, which we definitely like. Now, because of that, I'm gonna eat a hit for 11, which Hickles. I don't know how she dealt 11, because she went last. With her Iron Sights, she does have Iron Sights, and somehow dealt 11 against 0% protection. I have no idea how that was possible. I guess that must have been the minimest of min rolls, because she did have 1 battle debuff. So here you get hit by a Duelist Advance, and this Plague Doctor feels unnaturally tanky right now, doesn't she? She really does. I'm gonna drop an Emboldening Vapors now onto this Highwayman, and he's already at plus 55% damage. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that this Plague Doctor is not gonna survive to use her second Emboldening Vapors, because I did go for the heal round 1. So usually she doesn't make it past round 2 when playing against Mark teams. And hopefully that isn't the case here. I'm gonna drop another guard, And we basically have our midline guarded by the people in position 1 and position 4, so it is quite an interesting thing to see. Our Highwayman, though, is going to get slammed to the back, which was a very good play by my opponent here, because you want me to be dropping Duelist Advance rather than dropping Grape Shot, because Duelist Advance is still very strong, and the riposte is going to hurt like crazy. But it's not Grape Shot blast levels, it just feels like a stronger Duelist Advance, which is annoying, but it's not deadly. It's not deadly enough, that is. Duelist Advance really shines when it just does a surprising amount of damage on a team that already does a lot of damage. This team doesn't do a lot of damage. The damage dealer is a Highwayman, so you can't just have this kind of decent damage dealing ability and expect to get all the results purely from it. So here we go for a stun on the Abomination because I did not want to get slammed. I felt like that would have been a disaster. And this Musketeer is just doing nothing at this point. She's just tickling us to death. I mean, 13 is still a good amount, but the reason she's really not hurting that much is because we have 45% prot, and you might be wondering, well, why doesn't she have Minion Ball? Or, you know, if she does have Minion Ball, she would still be hurting a lot. Yes, but I noticed that she didn't have Minion Ball, so my Circus brain was immediately like, get protection, Shep, get protection at every point you can. That is something that I've often made mistakes with in the past, is noticing that my opponent has a lot of damage but not a lot of armor piercing, and I'm just like, oh, I'll just try Bellows, or you know what, I'll go Bolster so I can dodge the ability every now and then. Just guard, give yourself the protection, make sure your characters don't die round 2, and you're probably gonna have a better win chance, even if the matchup is horrible, which is what it is here. So we went for a Grape Shot there. It hurt, it definitely hurt my opponent, but no crits, despite all our crit chances. And I'm quite sad because I really wanted to get a Death's Door here on the Bounty Hunter, for example, with a crit, because after you get a Death's Door, what's gonna happen is that your opponent's gonna have to spend turns healing that character, and if they spend a turn healing one of the 3 characters that are getting peppered by Grape Shot Blast, they're definitely losing, which is obviously what you want. So at this point I'm thinking whether I should guard the Man-at-Arms just to keep him alive. I end up deciding not to, and I just guard the Highwayman because I did not want him to get shot and then just get killed by the Bounty Hunter or something of the likes, and I'm just gonna heal the Man-at-Arms here. Let's be honest, I only have 1 healer, and even though I have 2 people guarding, there's an Abomination, there's a Mark, there's Bypass Guard. One of my characters is going down here. That is 100% gonna happen. I just have to figure out the best way to let my character go and let them do as much as possible for me to win this match. It's just something that I have to accept with stress teams and with teams that are relatively stress-based, because they do not get that immediate kill pressure. They get pressure through stress, but in the meanwhile, the enemy team is gonna take one of your characters out. Unless you have very, very specialized teams and, you know, just keeping one character alive, but that's not what we're doing here. So, I mean, we do want to keep the Fireman alive, but other than that, the Man-at-Arms will probably not be completely indispensable, is what I'm trying to hint at here. So I'm thinking I could guard, and I do not get to go first next round, so it is a bit of a weird play, but I am gonna guard here, and that's gonna drop 2 guards to make another one, which is definitely quite interesting. And what is that gonna make? Well, my idea behind this was that the Mark for Death debuff I have on me is gonna run out this round, and after I go with Duelist Advance, my opponent will not have any kill pressure because my Plague Doctor would go back to position 4, so they wouldn't have a kill would finish him. So it would be overall advantageous for me, especially because my Duelist Advance was almost for sure gonna drop that Bounty Hunter down to 0. So yeah, you can see that my death blow resistance right now is 45, but it is gonna go back up to 75 after I go for this Mellow, because the Mark for Death debuff does run out after 3 turns, and my Mark will run out if I click just 1 more time. However, here comes the aim shot with a 55% deathload chance, and this kind of set me off because it is terrible to get deathload here. It is absolutely terrible, because I essentially wasted the guard going for that, and now my Man-at-Arms is gone. I lost my action. he could be alive, he could be spamming bellows for, you know, at least like 3 more rounds if he really wanted to, and it is really sad that he's gone. I do go for a guard here, I get immediately slammed, and I'm like, you know what, I don't care. If you slam me, I go to the back, which is exactly where I want to be, and you use up one of your actions, and now comes the turning point, right? I go for a Grape shot last year, I get very lucky with a 25% death blow, and the crit 16 on the Abomination, so things are coming up Shepherd Doggy, but I do get hit by a very big riposte, and my Highwayman is down to 0 HP here, which is bad. It is definitely bad. But with the bounty hunter out of the picture, it's not quite as scary as it was before, because the biggest death blow chance you have at this point is just a 25. Unless you mark with the musketeer, but I don't believe she even has the mark. So here I go for a potential misplay, because I just decide to heal the Highwayman because he's a more valuable character. And now the musketeer, she's gonna do it again. She's gonna get the 55% death blow. I am spoiling it because it is quite obvious that it was coming. Maybe I should have healed myself first, and then I should have healed the Highwayman, but I just felt like, oh, it's unlikely that they get 2 55s, right? it is unlikely, right? And at the same time I thought, you know what? The Highwayman is much more valuable than the Plague Doctor, so I should probably, you know, keep him alive, but in hindsight, would have been better to just save the Plague Doctor there, give her another action or two, just be greedy on that 25% and hope that I can take the match that way. So here, because of the Abomination days, I can prevent him from going for that heal immediately, and now I really have to get a death blow, because if I do not get a death blow at this point, my opponent's gonna have a character advantage, and they're gonna have a character with a lot of healing in the form of that Abomination, so it would be quite terrible for me. But Grape Shot Blast pulls through again. We get a big crit on the Highwayman, and we get a lot of damage onto that Abomination. Now, my biggest problem at this point is the fact that my Highwayman's at 0 HP. I have no way of healing him, absolutely no way. If I had a Flagellant, this match would probably be over. If I had a Flagellant instead of a Plague Doctor, sure, I would sacrifice some damage, but I would have had to reclaim this entire match. I would have had a tanky character in the front line, and I would have 3 Exsanguinates, 2 Redeems right now. It would be completely over. So if you want to make this team actually work, you bring it with a Flagellant instead of a Plague Doctor, and you have yourself something that's called the Last Stand team, and it is quite good. It might not hold up to some of the meta teams, but it holds up to a hell of a lot of other meta teams, and it is devastating with that repulse and the Grape Shot Blast shenanigans. So here, I do get lucky enough to get pushed to position 2, so I can drop a Lick Wounds, and now I'm gonna drop a guard onto this Highwayman. And this is when you get put in a bit of a weird spot, because if there were only, you know, 2 characters left on the enemy side, and not 2 characters and 2 corpses, I would always have a character to hit, but at this point, because I only have point-blank shot, I either have to hit the corpse or I move back twice. I'll be honest, I wasn't counting the corpse turns, so I'm not quite sure when the corpses are going away. I wasn't sure in the match, I'm not sure now, but I am gonna drop the point-blank shot. I was really hoping that I would get a crit, because that would prevent my opponent from going for that duelist advance, but sadly it did not happen. Here, you click the doggy to give yourself that regen. You have already suffered 1 death store check on the doggy, so it is definitely rough, but he's alive, and he's fine. The enemy doesn't have any confirmed death blows, or any higher chances of getting a death blow. So here comes the named shots, and I must say, look at my dodge. I have 62 dodge. I've had 62 dodge this entire freaking match, and my opponent has hit 2 aimed shots, a point-blank shot, and it's like my dodge isn't even there. And all those hit chances were like 50-50. It's just been 50-50 after 50-50. My doggy just having a horrible time. And here comes another 50-50, because that Highwayman is abusive, but this time it is a dodge. This time we do get a little bit lucky, and we have our regen back up, so we can use it once again. Here I could go for a stun, but I end up deciding on Hansari, because if I want to win, I need to kill both characters, and it's not looking too good at this point. So I just take out the doggy, and I take out the Highwayman, and now it is a 2v2. So it's gonna be a buckshot, which is gonna knock my Highwayman forward, sadly, so I have to hit into the corpse. I could move back twice here, but the Plague Doctor corpse was going away anyway, so it wouldn't really make a difference. And at this point, it is really rough, because both my characters are at death store, they both are at 60% death resistance, but If I were to get just one more move off, I could get a crit duelist advance with my massive amounts of damage. Let me finish on that double crit, because this was devastating. It is an absolute heartbreak here with both my characters dying from the same buckshot of this musketeer. So yeah, big GG's to, well, what is the name? Nasty Shot? Value Shot? Video Nasty. Wow, yeah, the names are completely off. But yeah, if I had just gotten one more turn with either of my characters, there would have been Duelist Advance, Blackjack, which was a 90% stun chance. We would just be absolutely golden to take the match from there. But sadly, fate would not have it that way, and my opponent does take the match. So big GG's to them, and I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope you have a fantastic New Year's Eve. I hope all of you have enjoyed this journey we've been on in 2022, and I hope y'all have a fantastic 2023. So I will see you again tomorrow when it is actually 2023. Cheers, everyone.